But anyway, let's explain this silly joke. I swear that thing's getting slower.
Dalek voice.
Asterisk! Yeah. That's all you're getting for that. We got a joke to explain, everybody. Welcome in. Do settle quickly. We'll get straight into it. So, we have a joke to explain, courtesy of Mr. Stebbs87. Which country's capital has the fastest growing population? Ireland. Every day it's Dublin. Okay, so we live on planet Earth, and
You're going to start there, aren't you?
civilization. Well, we've got to explain what a country is. You had sort of pockets of nomadic people. Well, you had in the beginning you had Pangaea, of course, didn't you? This is an exact map of Pangaea. It looks like a ghost that sneezed on itself. But yeah, so you had pockets of nomadic tribes going about the place, and on this one landmass, all evolving happily, merrily together. But due to the way that the Earth is made, you've basically got these huge plates of rock that are swimming on a bed of lava. I'm simplifying it a little bit in the interests of expediency. So all of these bits were pulling away from each other, you see, in different directions, and we ended up, as a result of that.
Oh, keep them on tenterhooks.
Yeah. Oh, you sure?
We ended up, as a result of that, with...
Yeah, some people don't eat on shrooms, you know. I think it's unprofessional. I think they're missing out, personally.
Got to keep your energy up.
Absolutely. Yeah, so all those tectonic plates pulling apart from each other, we end up with we end up with planet Earth as we know it today. And those nomadic peoples tended to settle, I think, primarily when we started growing stuff and farming stuff. I think that the movement from hunting and gathering to husbandry and agriculture meant that we basically had to stop in a single place. Broadly speaking, there were still some nomadic tribes around the place, in what would become North America, for example. But broadly speaking, that's what happened. And as these settlements grew, territorial disputes would take place. And these would be resolved on a local basis. People would come under each other's rules. And eventually we formed what we would term countries, which are sort of essentially large-scale peoples, to put it simply. And the disputes over the boundaries of those countries persist to this day. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland largely settled, save for, I guess, Northern Ireland, in that, in a geopolitical sense, in that there's this, essentially we're an island of small nations, so it sort of makes sense, potentially, that we're all part of one massive whole. Excuse me. Anyway, in order to run a country, you generally need a sort of a hub. A hub. So basically all the decisions that take place that affect that country as a whole. Down with that sort of thing. I hear you, Karumba. I hear you. Tend to be focused in one city. So in one city, you would generally station I was going to say the ruling classes, but that's slightly pre-democratic. But then the concept of this predates democracy in any way. So essentially, you would have these cities, so for instance in England, you would have London. You see, London being the capital city of England, and more broadly, the United Kingdom. So this question is asking which country's capital has the fastest growing population. A population is essentially just a head count of the people that live in a particular place. So we can imagine here cities having a population, and the question asks which of all of these capitals has the population which is growing more quickly. One presumes as a percentage of the total population of that particular capital city.
And this is very topical, isn't it? Because the census came out today.
The census came out today, yes. So do you get that filled in?
No, it's the results of it. It was last year.
Oh, so do read those.
Once every 10 years, and it was last year.
Yes.
Don't you remember?
Yes, I remember.
You said that you were Jedi or something.
I said I was Jedi, and then the Gimp said that I shouldn't even be on there, which I thought was a little bit racist.
Well, that might explain why the population of Britain swelled to 67 million.
Swelled?
Swelled.
At least it didn't soar.
But it wasn't as high as experts predicted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it didn't soar.
No. Soaring is a very odd word. Soaring is this beautiful, sort of graceful thing, unless it's a tabloid talking about it, in which case it's something to be terrified by. It's very strange. Very strange that the verb soar. Yeah, we're not getting anywhere nearer to explaining this joke.
That's fine.
But
It's only 25 to 10, darling.
hardly about expediency, this bit. So the answer to this question is Dublin, which is the the answer is Ireland, you see. So this is United Kingdom of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and Ireland. Very, very roughly put. So this is the UK. We're not really interested in this stuff. So let's erase the United Kingdom. Yes, so the capital city of Ireland is a place by the name of Dublin, which I'm going to put here. I've got no idea where it is. Okay. Now.
It's a bit nearer the coast, darling.
Is it?
Yeah.
This one?
Towards me, yes.
Towards you?
Yes.
Where are you?
That's near enough.
Yes. Now it looks like Ireland is looking at the snowmen that you can't see, but are definitely there. Right. So, how we measure something growing usually is by ratio, as I say. So, if it was growing 25% year on year, say year on year, every year. It would be, that's never a quarter. Every year, it would be 25% larger than it was the previous year, you see. So again, we'd take that as the new one, whole, and then we'd add a quarter on, and then another quarter. The quarter's getting bigger because this is getting bigger. Do you see? Now, if we were in a situation where it was getting 100% bigger, and in the joke, the suggestion is day by day, every day. So let's call that day on day instead of. I think it's a make of car. Boy flight, that one.
Get on with it.
Yeah, so if this was 100%, if we go back to our visualization, say that was like our original measure. There. So if that was, just for the sake of argument, if that was a population of 1 on day 1, then on day 2, it would be a population of 2. It would have doubled, you see. We'd call that process doubling, you see. And doubling, especially if you drop the G, which we often do in informal speaking, sounds a lot like Dublin, the capital of Ireland. So it's the sound, the fact that those two things sound the same, and have carried those two different meanings, the name of the capital city and also the suggestion that the population is increasing twofold, is where the humour arises in Stebb's joke. So Stebbs, have I explained that joke to your satisfaction, sir? If so, we can see if we can track down these last bodies. The Jedi religion does not have exclusive rights. Indeed. It met all the criteria, adding it on the census.
What was that?
Just means that the government can plan for the needs of the Jedi in the community. Exactly, Mr. Frightful. Yes. Very much so, thank you. Oh, okay. Pop them in.
Lean in.
Ow.
Too many.
Ah.